Okay, I've got two goals for today. We got a little ahead, which is kind of cool. So other classes are kind of catching up to us. And we're going to be doing this first 20, which is something I love to find some time to squeeze in. And these problems are super helpful for you for the future, just like the basic 20 that we got mastered right away. And so I'm also going to do a little review of what we've learned so far this chapter, but one thing at a time. Do you see number 6 on the board? Why can't I just say that the slope is 4 and be done with it? Kiernan? Yeah, you haven't got y alone yet. Then it will be what's on the x. The common mistake is people say the slope is 4x. The slope will never have an x in it. And the slope isn't 4 in this case either, because we're going to divide by 2. Everybody divide by 2. So, now, if you wanted to, I do have a document that's got these problems in it. Like if you wanted to download that instead of just using a blank notability, but I'm fine with either one. All right, so what's the answer, Josh? When I divide everything by 2, what would the slope be then? Excellent. All right. You have to mark you late, but I'm glad you're here. Okay, so we're going to go with Olivia. Can you tell me the y-intercept? It is. It's that simple. 3. Now, usually we like to put the y-intercept where x is 0 and put it in a point like this, so it's 0, 3. All right. So I'll give you another one. Let's see if you really learned that. 6y equals 12x minus 6. If I said, what's the slope? Would you say 12? Good. Would you say the y-intercept was 6? I hope not. Would you please find the slope and the y-intercept? The notes are in the folder for today, and it will look like that once you get it opened. Truckee, what do you divide everything by?
6.
And Hazel, what ends up being the answer for the slope?
2.
12 divided by 6 is 2. Can't argue with that. What letter do they usually call that? Slope is not S. It's M. You don't have to write M equals 2, but just so you know, if you see it in the formula, M is slope. And the y-intercept? Kiernan?
0, -1.
0, -1, because the 6 over 6 gave you 1. All right, one last one like that. Everybody write this one down. Y equals 5x plus 3x minus 10. Catch up and just copy that down. All right, you're going to have to leave if you're not going to do what I asked you to do. Just ask you to write that down. It's really simple. If you're not willing to write it down, then I will find a place for you where they can supervise you. All right, Joshua, what do you think we should do first? Because I know there's something tricky. The slope can't just be 5. Good. What does it make? And then minus 10, and then that makes it easy. What's the answers? Well, let's go back here. What do you think the slope is on this one?
8.
And what do you think the y-intercept is? Be careful, don't just say -10. What's the y-intercept?
0 minus
0, -10. Very good. That's the y-intercept. That's the slope. Okay, I think we beat that one to death. How about this one? Just multiplying. If I had just said to multiply that -5 in there, you know how to distribute, right? It'll be super easy. Just multiply the -5 in there. But if I ask you to multiply by 2x minus 5, then you have to distribute both of them. This one has to get distributed, and so does that. Would you please write out all 4 parts Sometimes people call this FOIL because the firsts have to get multiplied, which would be like this and this. And the outside and the inside and the lasts. But if you hadn't learned it that way, I think it's easiest to just call this distributing two things. The -5 times the x makes -5x. The -5 times the 4 makes -20. You see how I started there? Okay. Hazel, what do you do for the other one then when I do the 2x?
I'll do 2x times x.
Which makes?
I got 4x squared.
Good guess. It's 2x squared.
Oh.
Good try. But see, the 2 doesn't get actually multiplied by anything except the 1 that's on the other x. So it's really 2 times 1. So it's just 2. And the x times x makes x squared. So 2x squared. And Hazel, finish it off. The 2x times the 4.
Is -8. No, just 8.
Just 8. X.
X.
All right. Then you put it all together. Olivia, which of these 4 things can go together?
-5x, 2x squared, and 8x.
Correct. But which of them actually get added? I can't add 2x squared and 8x, but I could add the -5x to the, yes, these two. And then could you tell me what you think the final answer is? Just say it out loud.
2x squared plus 3x minus 20.
Excellent. Okay. So that's just multiplying out. It's called binomials. And I hope this isn't that hard for you. Everybody try multiplying this one out. It's got 4 parts. You can do it any order you want. I personally like to go like this. This and this, the first thing you see is the x. I like to distribute it into both parts. And then I like to do this part. And then I like to put it all together. Josh, do the red ones.
2x squared
Keep going, you're doing good.
minus 3x
Keep going, you're doing good.
plus 10x minus 15.
Boom. Now the only thing that can be simplified, Lydia, what can be put together? And that makes 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. There's your answer. You guys got that? Okay. Does that look familiar? It was on our most recent test. And it's something you learned in algebra. And now it's back again. Just on this little quiz. I'm hoping I don't have to teach it. Just get the answer. Tell me what you think the answer is. Kieran, don't just say the answer. Just tell me the 5 and the 15 part.
Simplifies to one part.
It does. It would be easy to think it was 1 over 5, but it's really not. Because if you get confused on that kind of thing, change this to a 5 times 3, and then the 5's cancel. And you can tell for sure it's a 3 on the bottom. All right. So I hope from there you just saw, oh, there's like 3 x's on the top, 1 x on the bottom, and then one of them cancels, and then I get x squared left. There we go. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, cool. No need to spend more time on that. Another fairly easy one, because we've talked about it a few times, but I bet some of you have forgot. This means 3/4 divided by 4/9, but you would probably want to change it to multiply. So 3/4 times 9/4. Did you say 27/16? Raise your hand if you did. Good. That's all there is to that one. The bottom one just gets flipped over. Notice the top one doesn't get flipped. Top one stays 3/4. And last but not least, this is just doing a problem in the right order. And if you are going to really do this right, you say parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. And the very first thing you do is parentheses. But all of this is in a parenthesis. And then there's another parenthesis inside of that. So you start here. But you can't add x and 1 unless you know what x is. So then you bop to the outside of that and you look at, oh, I guess there's a 2 times here I could do. So that is the first thing you do. You should have had 2x plus 2 times 1 is 2. And then I'm going to rewrite the rest of this stuff. A lot of people really aren't careful, and that's like math rewards careful people. I just stopped to rewrite that, and I'm not done yet, but I stopped to do a rewrite. And then, after I've done one step, I go back at it and say, okay, I'm inside of parentheses. Should I do this add? I can't really. Can I do this add? I can't really. But I could put the 3 and the 2 together. So then I still have the 2 on the outside, and on the inside I have 2x plus 5. And then it looks so easy, it's just to distribute. 4x plus 10, that's it. Who had 4x plus 10? All right, cool. Well, yay. Then this is the time to practice that. So, after we do just a little bit of review of the last couple days of math, then your assignment right now will be 5-minute little review of what we just did. It's a 5-question Schoology quiz. But first, when I give you 2 equations, there's 2 ways you could solve it so far. You could graph both of them. And what are you looking for if you graphed both of them? Yeah. Okay, and so this one's got a slope of 2, y-intercept of 3. Here's 3, a slope of 2, looks kind of like that. Here's one that has a y-intercept of 1 and a slope of 5, which is steeper. And look at that. 2 lines seem to do what? They intersect. This is where they intersect. And that's the answer. Do you get you can graph them? See where they cross. Okay, cool. What's another way to solve it? Just learned it yesterday. If I wasn't going to graph it, yes. Substitution. This one goes in for y. You're exactly right. So now it's going to say 2x plus 3 instead of y. And I'm just going to clean that up. 2x plus 3 and 5x plus 1. By doing that substitution, you get it down to just one equation, which is easy. All right, everybody, solve that one. I just want to remind you about the ending of it. The original problem was this and this. We did substitution and we got the black equation. Solve it, and then I'm going to ask you what to do next. All right, so student's helping me with this, and he's right so far. Then he said subtract 1 from both sides. 2 equals 3x. Am I doing this right? I think I am. What's the final answer?
X equals 2/3.
2/3 is correct. Raise your hand if you had 2/3. Okay, awesome. But wait. Can I just be done with the whole problem? No. I've got one of the 2 parts. So I got to take this 2/3 and I got to stick it in somewhere. Hint. If I put in a 2/3, there's easy ways and there's harder ways. If I put in a 2/3, I got to put it in here. But you could put it in here. Which would you like to do? Either way would work. It doesn't matter. It's going to come out to the same thing. So pick whichever one feels better. I personally feel like these are a little easier numbers. So I'm going to do that. So y equals, and I'm going to put this over 1, so they're like actually fractions. And then I get 4/3 plus 3. And that means 5 1/3. Nope. 4 1/3. Now, if you didn't like that, maybe it's because you didn't have a common denominator yet in your head, and I can do this for you. Times 3, and that makes it 9 plus the 4 would make 13 thirds. Maybe you like that better. Maybe not. 13, I'm wrong. 9 plus 4 is 13 over 3, not 13 over 13. There we go. 13 thirds. This would be a right answer. This would be a right answer. So the final answer is 2/3 for this part, for the x part. 2/3, and the y part is either one of these two. I guess I'm going to pick 13 thirds. Could have said 4 1/3. All right, so that's a reminder about how to do substitution. Now you've done substitution. We talked about graphing them, see where they cross, and we had these 5 practice problems. Your next step is everybody open up the Schoology quiz, and I will open it right now. And after the Schoology quiz, your homework is, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so everybody's working on that quiz, the Schoology quiz. Once you finish that up, what I'm going to be doing is reading off one assignment that each person personally could go back and catch up on. And if you have everything done, awesome. Then I won't have to read anything off to you. But several of you missed yesterday's homework, for example, and then maybe there's a few of you that missed one from 2 days ago. So I'll make sure everybody knows what they could work on for the rest of the hour. And every now and then, rarely, we'll give you a chance to kind of catch up on and stuff you might be missing. Today's one of those days. So for those watching at home, I recommend that you just go back and look and see in the grade book if you're missing anything right now. And if so, get that done as your homework for tonight.